Recently, that Mexican OT got interviewed and they asked him why he uses the N-word and he's not black. And honestly, I don't even know why they ask people like him this sort of question, because every answer that you get from a non-black person that uses the N-word that isn't white is pretty much the same. It's everyone around me grew up using it. I grew up around black people. We went through somewhat similar struggles, and what are y'all gonna do about it if I do say it? It's pretty much those four things combined all the time. But just think about how crazy this sounds. This guy is willing to basically die behind being able to say a slur. He said, what are y'all gonna do about it? That is insinuating fighting, violence, anything that could possibly happen over saying a slur. He's willing to fight, possibly go to jail, possibly die, possibly kill someone to say a slur. Because in a fight, anything can happen. He could punch the dude falls wrong, hits his head, he's dead, now you're going to jail for life. You could get punched, fall wrong, hit your head, die, now you dead. Over saying a slur. Is that not insane? Like, imagine he gets into a fight. His homie pulls out they end up possibly putting the dude down with a weapon. Something goes wrong, something happens. And now he's telling his mom, dang son, what happened? Hey, this black dude told me not to say the N-word. This black dude told me to not use the N-word around him. I had to stand on business over a jail phone. I had to stand on business. They're at a funeral for him. They're crying, why did he have to go? Well, I mean, a black guy told him not to use the N-word, and so he had to fight him, of course. A black guy told him not to say a slur around him? Is he crazy? Of course they had to fight to the death. Think of how crazy, like, black people have made the N-word so cool. There are hundreds of thousands of people just like this dude willing to face any and all permanent, final, negative consequences of life over saying a slur.
This is why I say there's no such thing as black and brown. Because for this man to say, what you gonna do about it? It's absolutely ridiculous. Because there's some real ones out here that if they heard you say that around them, right, they would absolutely do something about it. Now, here's the problem. You can say whatever you want to say, but there are consequences for saying certain things. My thing is, why do people that's not black want to say this word? Like, why? We are not the same people. Why do you want to say that word, though? That's what you need to ask yourself. And just because you grew up around black folks doing, I guess you were doing egregious things, right? That don't give you a right.
That motherfucking Mexican OT should have got packed out real quick when he said that shit. Real quick. This motherfucker basically said, who's gonna stop me? And nobody did shit. This is why these motherfuckers disrespectful as fuck. Because we let them talk to us in our presence like that and we don't do shit about it. Y'all should have packed him out the moment he said, who's gonna do something about it? Instant. I should have just heard the pause. I should have heard them skibbity paps. I should have heard this as soon as he said that. Now, I know, it was a bunch of women in the room, so maybe that was a part of it. And, obviously they're on camera and the legality of things. I understand that. But this is the type of behavior that needs to be handled instantly.
I don't do pop culture content, but y'all going too hard on my boy Mexican OT.
We need to talk. Mexican OT. His real name, Virgil Rene Gasca. I'm just hoping I pronounced it right. He is trending, but not for a hot freestyle, not for a new project, not even for another wild interview clip. This time, the Texas rapper has gone viral for saying the N-word, not once, not twice, but comfortably, casually, repeatedly, and people are split. Some are defending him, others are calling it out, and a whole lot of folks are just plain confused. So here's where I step in, not to cancel anybody, not to praise or condemn, but to break down what this moment really means. Because what we are watching isn't just a rapper slipping up in a freestyle. We are witnessing a cultural crossroads, a conflict between proximity and permission, between influence and identity, between shared struggles and scared spaces. When Mexican OT drops the N-word in a bar and shrugs it off in an interview, he's not just saying a word. He's stepping into a legacy, one soaked in blood, rebellion, power, pain, and survival. Now, let's be real. This isn't the first time we've had this conversation. Every time the public erupts, some black folks say they get a pass. They grew up in the hood. Others say, nah, there are no passes. Latinos, Asians, even some white folks have waded into these waters, arguing that their struggle somehow earns them honorary status. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Pain doesn't equal permission. proximity isn't a hall pass, and struggle, while deeply valid, doesn't erase the history etched into the word. So in this video, we are going to break it all down. We are going to explore why Mexican OT's use of the N-word struck a nerve, the difference between cultural exchange and cultural entitlement, why blackness isn't a vibe, an aesthetic, or a pass to cash in, and how this debate exposes deeper fractures in race relations across America and even beyond. Because this isn't just about one rapper. This is about how we define identity in a world where cultures blend, boundaries blur, and the internet turns every moment into a spectacle.
Now, I understand it's a touchy word for a lot of y'all, but y'all ain't from Texas. And by no means is that as an excuse. But if you grew up in the trenches, that's just how we talk to each other. Now, me personally, I'm 46 years old, and my vocabulary has changed due to being wise. And I understand that saying that word in the wrong areas at the wrong time can get your jaw broken, and I don't want my jaw broken. But with that being said, when a cop says, y'all four ninjas get out of the car, you think I'm sticking around, or I'm gonna be a ninja today? Now, I understand if you from out of state, you from California where Mexicans and blacks fight, but we don't have that problem here. Matter of fact, unlike you're told, Texas itself don't have a racial problem at all. Now, sure, you got some ignorant motherfuckers, but for the most part, we all intertwine with each other. I mean, you'll be surprised how many black folks can sing along to a George Strait song and see a redneck sing along to a DJ Screw song. That shit ain't unnormal around here. So y'all good brothers and sisters, let my boy make it. He can't help where he from, and he can't help that he young.
I made a video today saying that Mexican OT shouldn't be saying the N-word. And the Mexicans proved to me why the fuck shouldn't be saying the N-word. They all in the comments like, we say this shit, we grew up in the hood, blah, blah, blah. But then proceed to say all the stereotypical shit about black people that white people made up. It's like, y'all want to be as close to white supremacy as you can and believe all the white supremacists is bullshit. But then you over here hanging with black people, but you still believe what the white people said. How the fuck are y'all so confused? Pick a side. Do y'all want to be white or do y'all want to be black? Like, damn, but y'all sure ain't trying to be Mexican. Like, the fuck, that was the whole point. And the reason I didn't respond to a lot of comments under that video is because I'm like, bro, I'm just more willing to see how many people come on this bitch and say, expose the very fact that they shouldn't be saying the fucking word. You don't deserve to say it. You still think like a white supremacist. You're still conditioned, how white people condition your mind to think about black people, but you think it's okay to say nigga because you want to be cool? Because you grew up poor around black people, but you still have the same ideologies about black people.
Let's zoom in on Mexican OT. He's undeniably talented. There is no question. His delivery is raw, his accent is southern, and his cadence unmistakable. And like many young artists from working class communities in Texas, he's drawing on a cultural melting pot of sounds, slang, and swagger that feels familiar to black and brown audience alike. But when he drops the N-word in his music or interviews, there's a tonal shift. The energy gets weird. It doesn't feel like authenticity. It feels like trespassing. Because here's the thing. Yes, OT grew up around black folks. Yes, he likely had the word through around in his neighborhood. Yes, hip hop is his culture too, but that doesn't automatically mean the word belongs to him. The N-word isn't just a casual term of endearment. It's not a flavor of the month. It's a word that was weaponized to dehumanize black people for centuries. A word tied to the auction block, the whip, the nose, and the chain gang. A word that black communities, through sheer resilience, flipped into something self-affirming, complicated, and defiant. But even in the flip, even in that reclamation, it never stopped being sacred. It never stopped being heavy. And the right to use it, that's not something you inherit just because you hang out on the block. That's something tied to lineage, to trauma, to survival that can't be mimicked, no matter how many black friends you've got or how close your struggles feels. And when Mexican OT casually uses the word, especially in front of a largely white or mixed audience, it hits different. Not because he's the first, but because this moment feels like a tipping point. A moment where non-black artists, are starting to feel way too comfortable with black pain as a prop, with black culture as an accessory. Let's be honest, hip hop has become global. Everybody wants in, but very few want to carry the burden that built it. Blackness for many has become a vibe, something to emulate, but it's not a costume, and the N-word isn't a prop. Now, to be fair, some defenders of Mexican OT argue that gatekeeping the word is divisive, that as long as we are fighting the same energy, white supremacy, why not allow shared terms? But here's the catch. Unity built on blood boundaries is shaky. You can't build solidarity by erasing each other's pain. You build it by respecting each other's history. And no history is more linguistically loaded than the one attached to the N-word. So when Mexican OT shrugs off criticisms and says, I ain't apologizing, what he's really saying is, your pain doesn't check me. And that's when influence turns into arrogance.
The reason why Mexican OT and other people from outside of the black community feel comfortable with saying the N-word is because people from inside of the community allow it. The reasons why places like the Shade Room are able to thrive with desecrating the black community is because people within the black community allow it. We can complain about people like him saying the N-word, but when he had that popular soundbite that was trending and everybody was showing their grills, everybody was using the soundbite. The soundbite of a non-black person that says the N-word freely. Nobody had a problem with him then. People will talk about the fact that the Shade Room's founder is somebody who is not black American, but at the same time, the Shade Room has over 29 million followers. They ain't all from Africa. When the Kardashian Jenners spent the bulk of their career cosplaying black women, who was the good portion of people around them? I'll let y'all answer that. And every time that family has a product drop, y'all are outside buying it. So until we as an entirety of a community get very serious about ourselves and about what respect looks like for ourselves and our culture and what disrespect looks like and what we won't tolerate, which includes not supporting, not engaging with, and not tolerating black folks who are in community with people who choose to continuously disrespect us. How much of an argument then do we have to be taken seriously?
If you comfortable enough to say the N-word, especially around me, I hope you're ready for me to take you to Slurs R Us. Baby, if I was sitting in one of them chairs and he said, what y'all gonna do about it? He would have been every refried, kidney, lima, fava, chili. Motherfuckers would have thought I was making a 20 bean soup in that bitch. On my mama. I'm not finna argue with you because not everything is up for debate. Just violate they ass. In my opinion, Cleopatra shouldn't have even asked the question if she wasn't prepared to get in his ass. And truthfully, it's not a question. It should have been posed to him as a statement. You shouldn't say it.
The black culture is open source, that if you're close enough to it, you can claim it. No need to ask, no need to understand. But here's what that misses. Cultural proximity doesn't erase cultural power dynamics. Mexican Americans face their own unique struggles. Racial profiling, mass incarceration, border violence, but that doesn't mean their experience is interchangeable with blackness. That doesn't mean their access to pain earns them a seat at the linguistic table black folks carved out for themselves. Respect isn't about who suffered more. It's about who gets to define their own terms. And when black people say this word is ours, that's not gatekeeping, that's boundary stepping. And boundaries aren't divisive. They are the foundation of real solidarity. Here's the challenge to artists like Mexican OT and the people defending him. If you truly respect black culture, respect the boundaries that came with it. You can love hip hop, you can live in the culture, you can rock with the black artist, date black people, grow in the black neighborhoods, and still understand that some things just aren't yours to touch. Guys, drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Also remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. And until next time, bye-bye.